right, everybody. I want to do another thing here with my little setup, and I want to show a principle that we can use about perspective, and it has to do with the size of things as they get further away from us. So I'm going to use my camera here.
And let's take a look at where the horizon intersects her. So here's the horizon line, and it's going to about like kind of mid-upper thigh, you know, on the leg there. And then let's go ahead and put the vanishing point in there. Okay, so if we make a line from the top of her head and the bottom of her foot to the vanishing point, that will give us the size of any person who has the size close to hers, or, you know, around the same size as her, like any other adult, going all the way back to the vanishing point. Okay, so here is a person a little further up the street, and you can see obviously it's the same model. And then we can keep going, and you can march this all the way down to the vanishing point. So we're not just stuck with a person right in line here. We can make lines going from the height of any of those people and move them across wherever we want in our scene, and we get what the height would be somewhere else. So you can move somebody anywhere, and you can get the correct size anywhere in this scene. And you can even go even further all the way down there. So you can see that the horizon line is intersecting this girl in the same spot on her leg all the way down to the horizon line. And this is true for wherever the horizon line will intersect with anything in the scene or in the frame. It'll hit anything of the same size in that same spot all the way down from the vanishing point to anywhere on the screen.
This also works even if it's not intersecting the person.
Okay, so here it is raised a little above her head. And even though it's not intersecting, the horizon line is not intersecting with her body, let's put the horizon line in the vanishing point there, we can still make a line from the top of the person's head to the bottom of their foot and get the size, as you can see here, and pretty close to it, all the way back to the vanishing point. It's pretty much almost dead on. And once again, we can extrapolate from that anywhere across the scene. So even when it's not intersecting the person.
This is very helpful, and this applies to everything, not just people, okay? This will allow us to get the size as things get further away from us of anything. This applies to buildings as well. So let's take a look at these two buildings here.
Let's give this horizon line here and a vanishing point. And then as we look at these two buildings on the left, we can do a line at their base and then a line on the top. And you can see over here that this building is right in line with this other building, which is the same size as it, all the way back here. And this would go, again, stay true as long as it was in line and all the way across. And that also helps us get larger buildings like this building right here. We know how much taller to make it and how it would look, you know, correct in perspective.
So this can help us with different characters as well. If we want to make a taller character.
Okay, and here's the character far away. And let's go ahead and give it a horizon line here. And our vanishing point. And from there, we can get some lines, and we can line up the top of the head and the foot of the character. And here's how it would look close up. We can see it lined up in perspective. And here's the interesting thing here. So if we take a line and we go straight across from this girl, and we go straight across to this other larger character, and we hit it right in the hip, the same thing will happen. And we put a line right there. It's going to hit the character in the exact same spot. So again, this helps us with size relationships, even on characters that are in different heights. You can see how they line up in the exact same spot, and the head will hit in the exact same spot when you have that character right across from it. And again, those lines will help us move the character wherever we want and in our scene.
Useful for windows as well.
In windows or really anything, but you can see here how we can line up the height of the windows and get them all the exact same height going all the way back as far as we need to go. And you can even extrapolate from this. You could use this height to get the same height windows below it or above it just by sliding this length up or down to get the other windows the right height. Even when they're not in alignment with the windows in the front, you can still get the correct height.
This principle allows us to draw all sorts of things. We can draw street lights, buildings, people, cars, whatever we want. We can get the height and have the relative height as it would be further away from us by using our vanishing point to line it up with the objects that we know the height of that maybe are close to us. And you can extrapolate the other way as well. It's just usually that the objects in front are the ones that we're more concerned with drawing and more concerned with getting the right size. All right? Hopefully that helps. Hopefully you guys are able to understand how we can use our vanishing point, our horizon line, to get the size of everything in our scene, no matter how far back it is.
All right, let's start putting that to practice a little bit. Just do a couple things here. So, of course, we got to give ourselves a horizon line. And let's see how we can play that out a little bit just with a few simple shapes. I'm going to do it in the top third here. Okay. And make sure that was straight. Okay. Looking pretty good. All right, so let's just see how this kind of works out here. Let's just put a vanishing point. We'll put it somewhere in the middle, just because. And let's start with something like some buildings, and let's just see. I mean, there'll be boxes, but we'll get the idea. So let's go ahead and draw a line. I'm gonna do it kind of lightly here. And this is going to be the corner that I start from. And it's always good to orient whatever you're making on the ground. So again, I'm going to make a couple buildings here. And you just want to start with the ground and start with where it touches a plane or touches something. And it just makes it a lot easier to make everything feel like it's actually solidly on something. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw a box. I'm going to do one kind of shorter than the horizon line. And this is the corner. Okay, now I got to line this up so it hits this corner where the corner of the building hits the ground here. Okay, and I can take this corner to the vanishing point right here, the top. And let's go ahead and go straight down here. All right, I'm all over the place. Let's go ahead and get this corner now. Okay, and completing my box here. Going straight down. Again, just making a box. Nothing crazy. Nothing we haven't done so far. The only thing different is that I started with the ground. I started on the ground. All right. So we have no idea what this is yet, like in terms of like what it is on paper. And I know I'm going to turn it into like a little building. And I'm not going to do any detail. I just want to give us an idea here. So let's give it a door. And so once you stick something like a door in a building or a person or something in your frame, and I'm just going to put it off to the side. I'm not really worried about getting it in the middle or anything like that. But once you stick a door, you've oriented everything. Now, once I have this information in my image, now I know what size people are. I have a sense of scale. I have a sense of how high I am now in this scene. The camera is actually pretty high up, right? We're above this somewhat two-story building. And yeah, we've oriented things. Okay, so let's say I want to make another building or something back here. And let's say we want to make one larger than this building. Okay, so I'm going to once again start with a corner. Let's start with a corner here. I'm just going to put it kind of next to it. And to be larger, I know that I'm going to have to go above This is a corner of the building. Again, I'm starting from the ground and where it's oriented on this plane, on the surface. That way things start looking together. But I've got to make it higher than that point there, because if I make it that high, that would be the same height as this building. But if I want to make it higher, I'm going to have to go above that. So let's go ahead and go above it. So here we go. And since I've got this going here, I'm just going to go ahead and make my other vertical line here for the building. Now, again, I know things get smaller as they go back in perspective. So a building could be huge and all that. But again, to make things look consistent, I'm going to go ahead and make it a little thinner, just knowing that. And buildings aren't all the same width. But, you know, okay. So now this building, I now know is taller than this building because, again, if I lined this up to the vanishing point, it would be here, and that's the height of this building. But this one's not quite twice as tall, but this one's taller. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and complete my box. Now, because the horizon line is in between the top of the building and the bottom, we're only going to see two sides. And again, that's mostly the way it is when we're looking at buildings, because we're usually not above them. So we're usually not able to see the top. I mean, unless we're in another building or flying or something, but that's not usually the vantage point we see buildings from. Okay, so now I know I've got a larger building. Okay, now if I had a door on this building, what I would do is I would line this up with a vanishing point. So I know how high the door should be based off the door that I've already created here. So that's going to keep my scale correct. And that's pretty wide, so maybe it's a double door. So I'm going to go ahead and put another line there. And I could do an X and find the middle, but I just made it a little more to the left to make sure. I'm sorry, a little more to the right to make sure it looks about right. But again, it's starting to get far back. Okay, let's say I want to make another building. Oh, I forgot the bottom. Let's get the bottom here. I've got to complete my box here, even though I can't see this back corner. I can see this corner right here. So I definitely want to hit that right there. Okay, now let's say I want to make another building back here, but I want to make it the same size as the building in front. So all I'm going to do is line it up like this. Let's go ahead and draw a little line there. Okay, now this building is going to be the exact same size as the building that I have closest to our viewer. And I'm going to go ahead and get a corner here. Again, taking note that things get smaller, so I'm going to create the space between these two buildings a little smaller than that space. Again, not all spaces are even, so it's not like I have to measure it out or anything, but I just have to make sure, you know, it looks right. And I know buildings get thinner, so that's actually a pretty wide building compared to the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and make it thinner, because things should converge and get smaller as they go further back. All right, this one's going to be pretty easy because most of it's hidden behind the building in the front. All right, so let me get those corners there. 1, 2, 3. And once again, since this building is the same height as this building, I can see the top because my horizon line is above it. And I can see the this side of the building because of my vanishing point. That's where the camera is, right? We're in line with the vanishing point. All right, so once again, I would want to add a door. So I would just line things up with the door that I've already established, because I've already established human height. I'm going to go ahead and make a square there. Okay. And so on and so on. I can decide how high I want to make the next building and keep going however I'd want to do the scene here. But I just want to get us to get in place this sense of scale and how things relate to each other. Okay. Okay, let's say I want to draw a building across the street. So let's go ahead and, well, we'll just go quickly here. We'll rough out a little thing. So I would have a sidewalk. So let me go ahead and rough out a sidewalk there. That wasn't lined up well. Okay, kind of. I don't know if that was much better. So let me get a street here. So I'm just going to do another sidewalk. And then to get it the same width, that's easy at this point. I can just measure it because of the line isn't receding in space, right? So I got to count my spaces here. 1/2 inch and 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I'm going to go to this side here. I'm going to go straight across. So in order to do that, I'm going to make a line right here. I'm going to go like that. And right there is where I'm going to be measuring. So I'm going straight across from that same point. And I'm going to go. Let me make this. I can't measure that way because my ruler is not marked that way. All right, so it does help to have a little bit of longer ruler. Let's just eyeball it here. Okay, so 1/2 inch. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe. Wait, no, that wasn't what I said. All right, do over. 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5. Okay, that was it. Straight across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah, that looks right. Okay, so again, to get the size relationship across, I'm measuring this street or the sidewalk on this side and then going straight across from there and measuring across from it right here. Okay, and there we go. And I can line the ruler up, the straight edge up with the vanishing point. Okay, and that gave me a sidewalk that looks relatively equal. And let's put another building over here, and we'll just make this building kind of random. So, like, it won't be the exact same size. Let's say we didn't want to make it the same size as that building. But I'll put it right across from it. So once again, I'm going to start from my corner on the ground. Again, starting on the ground. Always starting on the ground with our buildings, or just keeping things attached is kind of the way I think about it. So taking this corner up, let's make this a large building. Let's just go really high up here. Okay, and we'll go to the vanishing point here. So it'll be a really tall building. And then I'm going to go straight down. Okay, I just wanted to get a quick building there. And now I know if I went straight across here, it's taller than this building right there. But what I want to do is I want to move my height of the door across, because I want to make sure my doors are the same height. So I've got to do the same thing, kind of similar to what I did with the sidewalk here. I'm going to have to get the height of a person. So at this point, so I'm going to go here and I'm going to mark this corner of the door. And I'm going to take note of where it hits over here. Okay, right there. I'm going to go straight across from it. On the top now. Okay, straight across. And then now, if I go straight down from those, anywhere on those points here, or no, I'm sorry. If I go straight down from this corner right there, this line segment is the size of my doors. So now I can go ahead and make a door anywhere on this side, as long as I line it up with this line here now. Okay, I guess moving the height across. Okay, let's see. Okay, so let's do this. So here's how I would put, let's say I want to put a door in the middle of this larger building, like a double door or something. So I'm going to go ahead and make an X. I'm going to come straight down from it. Strangely, I made that line almost right in the middle, unintentionally. Okay, and let's go ahead and find a midpoint here, this line. So how long is this segment? 1/2 inch, and so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. So 6. So I'm going to count 6 down. 4, 5, 6. Now again, yours might be different. Okay, so I can take a line here, and I want to make a double door. I just need a diagonal line to go through that midpoint. Again, using my X now, right? So I found the middle of this line. Get a sharper pencil. And I can, anywhere along this line, I can make my X. And I'm just gonna do it here, because I'm gonna make like a big double door. I'm gonna run it through the middle. I'll draw it here so you can see it and get my points. So that gave me a point right there and right there. And I can go up from there to make my double door. And I'll have 2 even rectangles going back in perspective. Again, using my X rule, X trick, X technique, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and I know my door is in relation to this door, and everything should be happy. Okay, same thing goes for people. If I'm adding people in the scene, so let's say I make a person here. Let's put him on this line. And here's my generic person. Okay, so this is like a generic person, just a placeholder. It's like here's the head, and then the body's like that. Okay, it's just kind of a little thing. So once again, so I have it touching the corner of the sidewalk just by kind of like default here. So I'm going to take the height at the same point here, just because I already have a line there. I don't want to make it too difficult. And if I want to make a person somewhere else down here, I know this is my height now, because I made a line here from the top of the head to there. And again, people are different heights, but you know, we get the general idea, right? Say I want to make a kid back here, I would make them smaller than that height. Then I would use that still as my reference with that person, right? And from there, I can move people across the street. Just going to line this up. You can move them wherever you want, really. But that'll give me the height of a person back there. And you could populate your city or your scene or whatever. And there you go. All right, so hopefully that helps you guys understand how we can use our perspective lines to get size relationships between buildings, between people, between really anything, and keep things looking correct, looking good, looking how we see things in real life in perspective. All right, hopefully that helped, and I'll see you guys in the next video.